In bull riding, there is no margin for error. Every second on the beast can be glory or tragedy. And throughout the history of the PBR, there have been moments so harsh, so brutal, that they forever marked this sport. These are the 7 worst incidents in the history of bull riding. Number 7. Amadeu Campos Silva. Young Brazilian Amadeu Campos Silva was only 22 years old when his career and his life ended in a tragic instant. It happened during the PBR Velocity Tour in Fresno, California in 2021. Amadeu had been considered a promise, strong, disciplined, with his whole future ahead of him. That day, when the chute opened, his leg got caught in the flank rope. The bull, a beast of almost 700 kilograms, began spinning violently while dragging the rider hanging. What in another context might have been just a second of danger, in this case turned into a drama with no escape. Amadeu was dragged several meters, unable to free himself, while his body slammed against the dirt again and again. The bullfighters immediately launched themselves to try to release the rope, but it was too late. A stomp from the animal on his chest was fatal. The crowd fell silent, some with tears in their eyes, as they watched the young man being carried out of the arena with no signs of life. That day, the PBR lost an emerging talent, and fans understood that no matter how much training you have, a fraction of a second can end everything. Amadeu's death remains one of the cruelest reminders of what it means to risk your life in this sport. Number 6. JB Mani. JB Mani is probably the most iconic name of the PBR in the last decade. World champion, undisputed legend, idol of multitudes. His risky style made him a fan favorite, but that same audacity almost cost him his life in 2023. At an event in Lewiston, Idaho, Mani faced the Bull Arctic Assassin, a specimen of more than 750 kilograms. From the start, the ride was brutal. Tight spins, vertical jerks, and violence beyond the ordinary. Mani, true to his style, resisted with bravery, but in the 5th second, he lost balance and was thrown forward. The crash against the dirt was devastating. His head and neck took the full force of the impact. The crowd froze upon seeing him motionless. Minutes later, the worst was confirmed. Mani had suffered a cervical fracture that put at risk not only his career but also his life. He was rushed to the hospital where doctors performed surgery to stabilize his spine. Although he survived, the doctors were clear. Riding again could leave him paralyzed forever. Thus, the accident was not only one of the most serious in PBR history, but also the end of the career of the man many considered the greatest of all time. That day, fans wept not for a defeat, but for the unexpected closing of an era. Number 5. Tough Hedeman. When it comes to legendary accidents, the names Tough Hedeman and the bull Bodacious always appear together. It happened in 1995 when the 3-time world champion accepted the challenge of once again facing the most feared beast of the circuit. Bodacious, a yellow bull of more than 900 kilograms, was famous for his violence. His characteristic move was to throw his head back with such force that he could hit the rider in the face. And that is exactly what happened. Hedeman had barely resisted a few seconds when the bull threw its head upward. The impact was direct to his face. The crowd watched in horror as the helmet shattered and blood immediately began to flow. Tough was thrown to the ground, unconscious from the blow. The injuries were extremely serious. Fractures in all the facial bones, including jaw, cheekbones, and nose. He spent weeks hospitalized, undergoing reconstructive surgeries, and his face was marked forever. Even so, the accident cemented his legend, because Tough not only survived, but he returned to competition months later. His showdown with Bodacious became a myth, a reminder that the line between glory and disaster can be measured in millimeters and seconds. Number 4. Bonner Bolton. Bonner Bolton was a rider with natural talent, considered one of the great promises of the PBR in the decade of the 2010s. In 2016 in Chicago, he faced the Bull Cowboy Up. During the first seconds of the ride, he seemed in total control, matching every movement of the animal with fluidity. But in the 6th second, the bull launched a vertical jump followed by a lateral spin that completely destabilized him. Bonner was thrown and landed headfirst on the dirt. The impact was terrible. His neck absorbed all the force of the fall. The crowd watched in absolute silence as the paramedics rushed in. Bonner did not move. He was taken to the hospital, where it was confirmed he had a fracture in the C2 cervical vertebra. The diagnosis was devastating, risk of permanent paralysis. Against all odds, Bolton survived, and although he could not compete again at the same level, he managed to regain mobility. Later, he reinvented himself as a model and public figure. but the accident that nearly left him paralyzed remained etched as one of the most heartbreaking in rodeo history. From the tragic death of Amadeu Campos Silva to the cervical fracture of Bonner Bolton, these first 4 cases show how ruthless this sport can be. Young men with everything ahead, established legends like J.B. Mauney and Tough Hedeman, all served as reminders that facing a bull of 700, 800, or even 900 kilograms is no game. It is risking your life. And the most shocking thing is that the 3 worst incidents are still to come. Number 3. Mason Lowe. American Mason Lowe was one of the most respected riders of his generation. In January 2019, during an event in Denver, he faced the bull hard times. What happened that night was one of the most tragic scenes ever seen in the PBR. Lowe came out of the chute with confidence, riding through the bull's first spins. But in the 3rd second, he lost balance and fell in front of the bull. In an instant, the animal stomped him with the full force of its hind legs, striking directly into his chest. The entire crowd screamed in horror. Lowe tried to stand, but the damage was enormous. Paramedics rushed and took him immediately, while the bullfighters kept the bull away. Despite all medical efforts, Mason died shortly after due to internal injuries. His death left an indelible mark on professional rodeo. He was only 25 years old and had a promising career. Fans remember him as a warrior, and his tragedy served as a heartbreaking reminder that this sport, no matter how glorious it seems, never stops being a battle against death. Number 2. Lane Frost. The name Lane Frost is written in fire letters in the history of rodeo. Charismatic, talented, and loved by all, Frost was the hope of an entire generation. But on July 30th, 1989 in Cheyenne, Wyoming, destiny played him the cruelest card. Lane was facing the bull taking care of business. The ride was flawless, completing the 8 regulation seconds with the grace that characterized him. But when he dismounted, he landed too close to the animal. The bull struck him with its horns, impacting his chest and breaking his ribs. One of them pierced his heart. The crowd did not understand what was happening. They saw Lane stand up, take a few steps, and collapse. The paramedics did everything possible, but the damage was irreversible. Lane Frost was only 25 years old. His death not only shocked rodeo, but forever changed safety measures. From then on, the mandatory use of protective vests became standard. Frost became a legend, an inspiration for thousands of young riders who grew up dreaming of being like him. His story was even brought to the big screen in the movie 8 Seconds. Today, whenever bravery and sacrifice in the arena are mentioned, the name Lane Frost is the first to appear. Number 1. Brent Thurman. The most devastating accident in the history of the PBR occurred in 1994, when Brent Thurman, a talented rider from Texas, lost his life facing the Bull Red Wolf during the National Finals rodeo in Las Vegas. Thurman was already recognized for his style and determination. That night, as the chute opened, he seemed determined to complete a ride that would bring him closer to the title. But the bull, a specimen of nearly 850 kilograms, delivered a brutal jolt that destabilized him. Brent was thrown off and landed on his back. What happened next was a tragedy. Red Wolf turned and stomped directly on his head. The impact was so violent that even with a helmet, Thurman suffered a fatal skull fracture. The doctors rushed to the rescue, and the crowd remained in absolute silence as they tried to revive him. Brent was transported to the hospital but died shortly afterward. He was only 25 years old. His death was a turning point in the history of professional rodeo. Brent Thurman's accident became the harshest reminder of the risks of this sport and the basis for further strengthening safety protocols in the PBR. These 7 cases represent the darkest and most devastating side of bull riding. Stories of young lives cut too soon, of legends forever scarred, and of injuries that transformed careers in the blink of an eye. Each bull, with its 700 or 800 kilograms of power, is a constant threat, and although riders train their whole lives to control the beast, the reality is that a single bad second can change everything. What makes these men unforgettable is not only the accident they suffered, but the bravery with which they faced the bull before tragedy struck. Some returned, others were immortalized in the memory of fans, but all of them made clear why bull riding is one of the most dangerous sports in the world. When the crowd roars, when the heart races, and when the chute gate opens, every rider knows the truth. Glory and tragedy walk together in the arena, and these 7 moments are the harshest proof of it.